And I also echo the comments of the member for Gavin to appeal to the government to say stand on the side of residents for this. Stand with them. That is very clear what residents want in this particular case. I've been standing with these residents for over 20 years. It was in 1999 when I first ran for council that I first met the first residents that I met from the home parks, and I heard the variety of issues that they faced at their park. And ever since then, it has been a pleasure to work with them and stand with them to see these reforms coming through. I want to acknowledge all the representatives in the gallery here today who are constantly fighting for a better deal in their parks. The member for Mermaid Waters, Mermaid Beach, 10 years, he said. Let me tell the member what happened 10 years ago when we got in here. There was a tranche of reforms coming through home parks. They'd been delayed and just gone through very slowly by the Newman government. When we got in, we fast-tracked those. And I think that was one of 2 or even 3 tranches of reforms we did for this sector. That's a lot of work was done in those years to make sure that the residents in the home parks had a better deal. And I'm proud of the work that we did over those 10 years, resulting in the act that we came to last year. Speaker, I want to start by addressing why it's so important to start one of these reforms for home parks right now, and that is the capital replacement plans and maintenance plans. Now, the reform we brought in stated for maintenance and capital replacement plans, park owners would be required to prepare maintenance and capital replacement plans for the residential park, and this would encourage park owners to be proactive about maintenance and capital replacement work. And it would allow homeowners to engage with park owners about emerging issues or priorities, and the department, amongst others, and to other homeowners on request. Now, detailed requirements for these plans would be established in an approved form and a regulation developed in consultation with key stakeholders. Now, that is what we want to see happen now, and not in June 2026, not in December 2025. Homeowners want to know now what is happening in their parks. Let me remind everyone that the parks are their villages, they're their communities. And I believe they have every right to know when the roads are being upgraded, when the drainage is going to be fixed, when the air conditioning in the community centre is going to be upgraded. After all, these are facilities funded by their weekly payments, by their fortnightly rent. And the issue of this, the issue of what they get for this money that they pay every fortnight, goes to the heart of the matter for me. Now, we need to make sure that there is a better balance in the home park sector. And I believe that the sector has not recognised that it needs to recognise the co-investment by the homeowners. And I thank Roger and the other members of the representatives from the area who have helped me develop these sorts as well. And I spoke to one homeowners committee representative last week who pointed out to me that the total investment by homeowners in his park is about $140 million. And each year they contribute approximately $10 million in rent to the upkeep and ongoing upkeep of that park. Now that is a co-investment. So for homeowners, it's clearly not a case of buy and forget. Our home park owners are not passive consumers. They have agency and they want to be active in how each of their park operates and how it spends the income that they do get in. But as we've known, there's been few legal or regulatory structures to help ensure that these homeowners keep having an active say. Sometimes, as I've seen, sometimes what they've gone to do is gone to and beg the owners to take a spending action that they think is necessary. And it is harder to negotiate when you're locked into a legal agreement about how much you pay every fortnight to keep your house there, and you cannot simply pick up your product and move it somewhere else in search of a better deal. And that is the gist of the imbalance of power, the financial and legal power that we have in this case. What I believe, and I've said this previously when we debated this last year, is that we need to shift the principles at the heart of the home parks sector. And I'll just remind people what the committee wrote in the last Parliament in our report on the 2024 bill. We said, finally, the committee believes that a guiding principle for all stakeholders in this sector, homeowners, park owners, as well as the state government, is that of co-investment and partnership. And that principle should be reflected in future actions aimed at preserving, improving and enlarging the manufactured homes, residential parks sector. And can I suggest, if you are applying that principle of co-ownerships and partnerships, you would listen to the homeowners in this case here about when they want these provisions to commence. And it's very clear, as the member for Gavin just said, that they are very clear that they want these provisions to start as soon as possible. Let me emphasise again, the focus should be on the sector as a partnership between park owners and homeowners. And the sector should be viewed through this lens of co-investment, not through the lens of an owner-client relationship. I believe the government needs to take a broad scope review of the sector because we're talking about the consumer protections for a large group of Queenslanders. Now, remember that this sector provides a home for many people on a middle income, a lower income, and this sector should continue to do that. And that is why it's really, really important to have these provisions on the capital replacement plans and the maintenance plans to happen as soon as possible. There are a whole raft of things that need to change, and I've just spoken on one thing here tonight, but I think it's emblematic of the changes that we do need to see and the model and the principle of co-investment and partnership that this sector needs, recognised by government. Just going back on what the member for Gavin said is that we stand with the homeowners, and I do think the government needs to back the homeowners in these parks, and that is because they need all the backing that they can get, considering the financial and legal power of some of the corporations now owning these home parks. I'm just going to quote you an excerpt from an Australian Financial Review article last year. The largest operation is Hometown Australia, the former gateway lifestyle business US operator Hometown, acquired in 2018 for $685 million. Stockland in 2021 paid $620 million to acquire Queensland operator Halcyon and has expanded the brand ever since. Last year, this was in 2023, Mirvac spent $300 million to acquire a near half stake in the Serenitas portfolio of 27 communities. Now consider the balance that we have there. We've got these corporations with their large financial capabilities. They're working with or faced with homeowners committees, retirees living in these villages, all volunteers, and they're trying to get what's fair from these international companies, these billion-dollar companies. Could I always remind people that what we are talking about is a really large section of the retiree community within Queensland. I've had Living Gem is started operating in my area. I think they've got about 800 homes are going there. And that's down the road from Stockland's Halcyon development, which I believe will have about 400, 600 homes in that total development. The land lease sector is really large. What the residents in those land lease communities need is they need the government on their side. It's very clear. They're up against these large companies with great resources and there's great profits to be made. They just want to be treated fairly. They want someone in their corner. And we have a range of reforms that have come through, and it's hugely important that we back these residents and make sure that they have these protections coming to them as soon as possible. And that is why I am so glad that I'm here to support this disallowance motion moved by the member for Gavin, who I think is doing a tremendous job and working with the home park owners and the park owners as well. Thank you very much.
Speaker.
Member for Waterford.